Hey guys, this is Zen from Shred Gaming, and just going to do a review on the Patriot. It's back in the gift shop again for 4th of July. Uh, so, this is one of those. I just want to put this to their ass right now. This is my personal feelings on these apparently pay to win tanks. Um, this tank is strong. So, essentially, what it is an up armored Pershing. You have a stronger turret, you have a stronger upper plate, and you actually have a better gun than the Pershing. I mean, this is, like I said, essentially similar to a KR, actually, the look of it and whatnot. But this tank, like I said, it's considered a heavy tank with its up armored upper glacis and its gun mantlet. Is it pay to win? Is it super? Is it OP? No, not in my opinion. If you're getting your ass kicked by this tank, you're probably doing it wrong. Okay, it's a good tank. It's a very good tank. If I had a choice between this and say the T-32, I still take the T-32, or even the old stalwart T-34. These all play the same. You know, really good turrets, really good. Um, they're able to bounce a shit ton of rounds once you get hull down. So they play very well. Obviously, the American tanks play very well on hills. Like I said, if I had a choice between playing 32 or a 34, I would still take them over the Patriot. I mean, this is a very good tank. I mean, I've heard this, these OP new premium tanks, they're pay to win. Well, yeah, they're very strong. I mean, they're as good as a 32 and a 34. But you're still, if you're losing to these tanks and you're having a hard time with them, you're most likely fighting in positions that you shouldn't be fighting in. If they're on a hill and you're on a crest and you're trying to fight them, you're gonna fucking lose. You're gonna lose to a 32. You're gonna lose to a 34, right? So that there's, you can't fight them at what they consider what is the strongest position for them. So if you're losing to them, and you think that makes them OP, it's not. Go drive a 32. 32, that fucking thing will bounce tier 10 shells all day long. This one, not so much. A little premium, you can go right through that turn. 32, that's a whole other story. But like I said, 32, 34, Patriot, all good tanks, all strong in their environment, which is, a hillside, mounted dirt, whatever. So putting that out of the way, this tank is a very good tank for training your heavy crews. It's a very good tank. It makes very good money. It's got a very good gun. It's another 90 mil, similar to the T-32's 90 mil, instead of similar to the one that you find on the Pershing. Even though the 32's 90 mil has a weak pen, the gun stats are, especially the aim time, reload time, and whatnot, are very similar. So if you're comfortable with the T-32, this is just a premium, as far as I'm concerned, a premium version of that. Strong turret, good gun. Yeah, and it makes money, very good money. So if you're an American tank driver, and if you're familiar with, say, like the T-29, same kind of gameplay, same as the 32, same as the 34. It doesn't deviate from the standard American heavy tank play, So in that sense, if you're comfortable with those tanks, you go right on down to the 103, down to the E5. If you're comfortable with those tanks, this tank will play exactly like them. It's strong turret, decent gun, if not good gun, and it's a very good tank. It's a very strong tank. So looking at the tank, we have 240 average damage per shot, 230 average pen, which is really good for this premium tank. The 32 struggles a little bit in that sense. 34 obviously has more pen. So this tank is, gun wise, is very good. Aim time, decent. Dispersion, decent. Average per minute damage, very good for a tier 10 or for a tier 8 heavy. So what really makes this special is this gun mantlet right here, and this gun mantlet will bounce a lot of shots, hull down. The other thing is also the upper glacis is very strong, much stronger than the 32s and the 34s. Still have the weak spot lower plate, still have the gun port weak spot, and of course the cupola. If you're lucky enough, this shot trap right here, you can pen on an occasion, not at distance of course, but yeah, you can pen that in there. So like I said, very strong frontally, this tank is. Of course the rear and sides are just like a typical Pershing, everything, and their mother's going to pen you. So the tank, obviously since it's based off of the Pershing, of course being a heavy with more weight, isn't quite as quick as a Pershing. It is fairly quick for, I would say, put it along a little bit better than the T-32s, obviously much better than the T-34s for movement wise, mobility and whatnot. It does get out there and move fairly well for a heavy. This tank they're selling it, I believe, as a couple different packages. The ultimate, the Patriot version who gets the the fancy camouflage. There's a couple of different versions here of this tank, and I think the base model's 43. So there is a couple different versions to choose from. If that's what you're thinking about buying, if you're thinking about buying this tank, they do give you a few different versions to look at least price wise. So obviously as a tank collector, I usually buy the especially if it's got some cool camo and whatnot, I usually try to buy that package. As for the equipment and all that stuff, obviously these packages have different garage slots, cold, whatever. If you need any of that stuff, hey, that's great. Go ahead and buy it or whatnot. But is it definitely worth the money? Yes. If you are serious about the American heavy line, yeah, go for it. This in general, this tank is probably going to perform as well as a T-34, as credit wise. So 34 is still, in my opinion, one of the a very good tier 8 premium. People are going to disagree and say, well, it's being shut down. It's weaker compared to some of the other. T-34 is still tough. Get on the hillside, you can still fuck shit up. Especially tier 10s. It's probably one of the better tier 8 premium tanks if you're going to go up against tier 10s. This tank, it does very well against just about. It does struggle a little bit. It seems like it struggles a little bit against tier 10s. I think that's probably more from its lower alpha. You can argue this back and forth, which one's the better one of them. This is more of a preference thing. At least play style wise, this is probably a little bit better for the ability to, with its mobility, to adapt to the battlefield than the 34. I mean, the 34 you get in a position and you're just gonna slug it out with whatever. This moves much better. So mobility wise, adaptability wise on the battlefield, this is better choice. As for credits, I do believe I had. What did I have? I had one game sold stats 76,000, 105,000, and an 80,000. I played 3 games in it. I haven't really played this tank that much, just for I bought it and haven't really got to it yet. But I think the 105,000 was right around 2,300 damage, but I also had 2,700 spotting. I'll be showing these 3 games. I just jumped in and played 3 quick games for the video, and like I said, between 80, 105, so almost 250k silver in 3 games. So yeah, it does produce. It definitely does not. It does well, and one of them, that 80k, was a loss. So And I think that was 3K. Like I said, you'll see I have 3 videos I'm going to mash together here and give you some play on the tank. So keep on. We're going to move on to the, like I said, the concealment. You know, typical heavy tank. What's really nice about this tank is its base view range is very good. If you're familiar with the 32, 32 has very good view range, base view range. So in this, since with its view range and the gun handling, I typically run. We'll go to the equipment now. You know, the rammers, the vents, and I usually run coated optics. And I'll show you why when I get into these games. Why to me the coated optics, especially on a tank with a very good base view range, is important, and why it helps with the credits. And I'll explain that 105,000 K game that I had there with just 2,300 damage. And in this in these videos, I'm gonna run. I kind of plan running a mishmash here of 2 different tanks for crews. I don't have full BIA yet, so when I get to full BIA, my view range will obviously be over 440, probably closer to 460 by the time you're done, and we're not even talking about getting into the crew skills yet. So I mean, I'm guessing you can get this well maxed out for the view range, and which to me is important, especially with the premium tanks. You know, the more XP you build, whether it's damage or assisted damage, just more money in your pocket. And they give you, like I said, with a tank like this, with the already really good base view range, it's kind of dumb not to build on that, you know. So yeah, so I'm gonna run through a couple 3 games here for the crew. So the crew, as a crew trainer, it's got 5 slots, which will train your higher tier tanks, which is always important because, you know, wargaming seems to be, they produce these fucking premium tanks and they give you kind of a raw deal, because a lot of times you end up with a crews that, you know, you'll train, but then you're short a crew, or you have a fucking odd crew member, like 2 fucking radio operators or some bullshit. You're not gonna have a problem with this tank. You know, you're gonna train straight up crews for your higher tier tanks. So yeah, as a crew trainer, great. Moneymaker, great. All around, a very good tank. Mobility wise, gun wise, armor. It's definitely not a tomato. So in my opinion, is it worth it? Yeah, I would definitely drop the 43 or 55 or whatever fucking package you buy, whatever, it doesn't really matter, on the tank. Like I said, it does well. It seemed to do well in, I don't have, like I said, probably 10 games in the tank. You know, I jumped in, played 3 quick for the video, just try to give it a little bit of a little different flavor across maps selections, and give you an idea what this tank can actually do. So we will probably jump into the gameplay now, and I'll give you kind of a run through on this tank as I play it. Alright. Hey guys, back here with the gameplay of the Patriot, and we're on the infamous cliffs, and it is an Altair 8 match. For some reason, all of a sudden, they seem to be becoming more prevalent. I don't know if it's because of the outrage by the community or what, but it seems like, yeah, we're starting to get more high tier games again, which is fine with me. I actually split from the usual heavy playstyle on this a little bit here. I wanted to kind of give it a little different flavor, a little different play style than you normally would in a heavy situation. That, and we had a crap ton of heavy tanks go that way. So I moved up into the center here. I was really hoping there was going to be a bunch of mediums up here, but they didn't actually appear for me. So I'm going to use this nice turn of mine, hopefully to getting up here quick enough. Now, if you watch the mobility part of this, you know, I peaked fair amount of tanks over here, other than the FCM, to this area here. Try to get some side shots on some of the heavies as they move across. As a split, we have a low, a Centurion 7, I don't know what the fuck he's doing now, there's Centurion 1. The heavies moved around, M01, E5P, and the Type 59 around to the far side. Yeah, and then of course they're already stunned. You can see the fair amount of tanks that have moved around to the, actually they're bunched up, but we have right here. I don't, I've talked about it in other videos about the funnel, where you get a whole bunch of tanks kind of puckered up. Now, I looked at these mediums. If you're in a medium around this map right here, you see this little point right here, I'm off to my right hand side over here. Yeah, that little point right there, that's a great place for a medium, but we don't talk about that. So back to the game. Don't know where the fuck that went to. It does, I've never really had any problems with this tank, at least the shooting wise. Accuracies seem like it's been always pretty decent. Like I said, we have with a clusterfuck of tanks behind me, it makes it a little interesting. Mutt's come around with me, just trying here to get up and to get some shots on this bat chat. Now, as we're playing this game, you can watch the flow of the battle. I've talked about this in map rotation videos and whatnot. The far side over there, they should have a fairly decent chance of winning it. But, well, like I said, we'll watch the video as we go. Once again, turret, very strong. I bounced 3 shots off of him there as he tried to sit up on the hill unspotted. Which surprised me, I didn't spot him, but that's Wargaming's mechanic with light tanks. I actually at this point had seen that E4 had gone over, and I thought, well, maybe I'm gonna go try to give him a hand. I have no idea why he decided to YOLO off the cliff with Scorpion G and an E5 and a Chrysler and a Oho and all that other crap sitting there, but he did. And obviously we're down 3-1 right now, and kind of come into a stalemate here. And without, I'm not a big advocate necessarily of artillery, but they get one, we don't. Which, in my opinion, a little bit later in this game is going to kind of, it's going to affect us without that overhead support. I know people will say, you're crazy, but yeah, as much as you want to complain about artillery, it does have its advantage, its assist. So this little bat chat here, he's been sitting here spotting for them. I really want to kill him. He's actually started pissing me off. So a little patience. We're sitting here a little bit. We're going to wait a little bit. Eventually, he's going to make the decision to poke and hopefully finish off his days of lighting. Now, I watched the top up there. 54 Mod 1 had actually made it to the top, and apparently decided that he needed to suicide into the bat chat, killing himself. So that play might have, if he would have lived and held that position, we might have a better chance of actually winning this game. Once again, turn of this tank, very good, keeping him off of, he's unable to pen my turret. Gun handling, like I said, very easy to aim fire. To a certain degree, it's got a pretty decent little snapshot on it. Accurate. Aim time's a little, 2 seconds or so. But like I said, when you get your screw skills built up a little bit, you don't notice notice as much. I mean, I hardly notice it at all here. So, lose the FCM, got 3 in front of me. The Louve is still fucking around at base. The Centurion 1 that was there, I don't know, he decided to leave base just to go up the hill. And, yeah. And the Oho with his magic fucking RNG, able to snapshot me, my turret at least. And leaves us kind of a little mismatched on this side. Now, you can watch the mediums that had actually gone up the hill to do what, I don't know. They're not really giving this Emil very much support. I'm right now, like I said, I'm trying to play this. I'm getting kind of torn between. Obviously, I have a push on one side, push on the other side, but I want to try to keep this Emil alive as much as I can. And he's doing a good job of trying to stay alive. This one, you got to kind of question, like I said, where are our mediums that are sitting on top of the hill, and why. You'll see later on in the game what I'm talking about. They have a tendency to sit up there and not support like I think a medium should. But I've missed a few shots with this gun now. I'm not terribly sure it's actually the gun's fault. Like I said, once again, RNG is always going to fuck with you one way or another. So it is, in my opinion, as good as the 32's 90 mil, at least for accuracy wise. She gets it right in there and hits what it needs. So now, as I was talking about the view range earlier, this is a perfect example of me picking him up and me donking a shot to the asset of the Louise 111. That actually might have, I'd probably, if I would have made that shot, this game could have ended a little bit differently. But they also have 2 full health tanks left, besides the Oho and the Louise 111. They're both still full health. So, it's an upward battle to see how this goes. Now, I'm really in a bad position right here. I have there's another one of those snapshots. I gotta fucking love that shit, don't you? The M4 has a pretty decent 105, and she does hit pretty hard. But you'll see here what I'm talking about with the upper plate. It's strong. I mean, it will bounce, a fair amount of shit, especially if they shoot just the upper and not the lower, or aim for a weak spot on here. So, like I said earlier, Wheezy's on the hill. Centurion, who is actually full health, or almost full health, just kind of staring at me. I was in a tough spot. Not much I can do. Okay, 3,000 damage, 1,700 blocked. This ended up being the I think the 80k game. If it would have been a win, I think I probably would have ended up with close to 100k by the time I got it done. But it's a loss. What are you gonna do? Yeah, well done, Centurion. Well done, mate. Which just leaves our back to our base camping. If the Centurion would have maybe gone up the hill, tried to support a little bit, maybe take the Wheezy out for me, we could have probably had a pretty good chance of winning this. So, alright, so we're going to go on to the next game, and I really don't want to watch us lose this one. So, hey guys, we're back to the second game in the Patriot, playing on the North American map, Tier 10 match. It's actually one of my favorite maps, even in heavy. Meta seems lately to be more along the lines of people hold up about the D-line and they let one or another charge into town and pretty much slow down, and that's about it. It seems like most of the action on this map is always on the 9-0. So, I was talking about earlier about the view range on this tank, And you'll watch in this game one of the reasons why I run coated optics on this tank. Not just, I mean, obviously for the view range benefit, but also with the assisted damage. And you know, not only do you get the damage you do, but you also get the damage you spot from another tank, and that adds up. I mean, that's your XP, and of course that's your money. So the longer your view range is, in my opinion, the better, even on a heavy tank. Allows you to, you know, pick up that target wherever people shoot it. Boom, more XP for you, more assisted damage for you, more money for you. And you'll watch in this game what I'm talking about. And this, you know, side of my map here. I mean, yeah, I could go to town. I actually thought about it, but I also saw, you know, we have an E4, a VK, and a Moss, and they are a little light on the heavy tank side, especially against those monsters. So I feel that I'm not really needed there, and this side of the map fits my tank playstyle much better. So you know, if we push this, if we don't dwaddle, like I said, this is one of those maps that you want to go to. So little snapshot there. Like I said, this gun handles very well. You know, there's not a whole lot of aim time needed, especially at this distance. When you donk it, which I do. I donk on more occasions than I know not. It's one of those, you want to try to keep your turret down as much as you can and try to get the shot off. But we have pretty much overrun what tanks are sitting here. The ML2 is doing a nice job of finishing them off. Now, if you, as a, you see now here, I've racked up 1,388 spotting damage. And that's just from the fact that, one of the fact that I just nailed that Ferdinand. I was the one that spotted him. He got wrecked, right? So, with that, you know, and now I picked up the Scorpion, and he's getting wrecked. He got a shot in on my side. But that view range, you know, the fact that I spotted those targets, and of course I just nailed his idler to stop him from moving. Assisted damage, more money, more money, more money, more money. You know, so you'll understand why. Obviously now I run the coated optic, and you know, the town, at least the enemy side, they're for some reason kind of donked out on this deal. You know, I always preach on the other maps about, or at least the other playstyle, other videos I make about some of this stuff, is the count the tanks. You know, you got the mouse there. They're still dicking around. You know, they've killed one tank, one Tiger 2, an E3 and an IS4, and an E75, and that's all you've killed. Yeah, you're gonna lose the game. You know, this is those moments where you're, you know, tanking, counting is hard. So the Patriot, this kind of map is bread and butter. This is where you're going to make some good cash, getting in there, using your gun depression and whatnot. You know, so, and I also like I said, in this, I also like to move out with this tank and get up into the action like this, because it's mobility. It'd be hard to do this in a T-34. It'd be even hard to do in a T-32. You know, it suffers. Those tanks are not as mobile as this one. You know, 40 miles. It says 40 kilometers per hour, but it does have it has a good power to weight ratio, so it doesn't feel like you are, you know, falling. You are not as fast. You don't feel like that. You don't feel like you're only going 40 kilometers an hour. So, like I said, mobility-wise, excellent for a heavy tank. Kind of getting around the 704 to finish him off. I was actually shooting for his idle there, but donked it. But does give me a chance to get his to his side, finish him off, get me up to 2,300 damage, and 2700 spotting. This was the 105k game that I had pointed out earlier, and this is why, because that extra 2700, having to do the damage, let me do it. I actually, for some reason, thought I was going to pin that. I was actually trying to get his back of his idler there to keep him tracked for the moss coming around the backside, but didn't work out. What are you going to do? All right, so we got one more game, and give you kind of an idea of what I think of this tank. The next game is a little more interesting, so we'll see what's coming up next. Alright guys, back to the Patriot review, and we are on Fiery Assailant, Proc, whatever the fuck you want to call it, depends on what the week is and how many explosions are going off. Once again, lucky enough, actually the 3 games that I played, 2 of them were top tier games. It's an all 8 game on a map that was probably one of my favorite maps in the game to play. Easily, still love this map. And now, like I said, with the setup we have on this tank, with the coated optics, and also the fact that there is no artillery, I tend to play center. If I'm in a 32, 34, whatever, this is the stuff where you get to abuse your turret and get up into the area right here down the center of the EF line. Now this game, you can watch the spread right here. So you have the TDs all headed one way, which is unusual because typically they like to count that bottom line, and they tend to camp the one line. And like I said, the FE4, I don't know if you just bought that tank or fucking what. I don't know. I understand why you're hanging out there, but for the Patriot, like I said, this is one of those maps that really works for you. I have a general idea that most likely those 3 Swedish tank destroyers are probably going to be sitting over on the 1-2, or probably maybe on the 9-0, I don't know. But that's where they typically like to sit. Is right there, and obviously so I want to make sure I'm aware of that. Obviously, so I actually, for some reason, when I moved up here, I'm actually just shooting at his track. I wanted some of the assist out of it, but I actually didn't get any of it. I think I donked the track, and more likely just the damage I am getting is just from the spotting of it. But like I said, once again, it's the view range is letting me rack up a little bit here, a little bit at a time always helps. And this here is going to be some of the to give you some idea of the accuracy of this gun, especially at range. Now it's not always easy. This map is a lot of times won by who's spotted. This whole map is pretty much nothing but view range. Who's got the better view range? Who doesn't have the better view range? And this is one of them situations here. So we have guys on the hill, they're shooting up there. Our guys getting spotted on the other side, shooting up there, right? So the hill's always can be kind of a clusterfuck, especially when it comes to this shit. So I like to snipe a little bit here. This isn't always my favorite position, but nothing else seems to be really moving around that much. So take a couple pot shots here and see what happens. So once again, great turret, bounce that shit left and right, keep them spotted. And at this point, it's kind of where I realized that this was going to be one of those kind of games. Everybody's kind of jockeying for position here, and it's more of it really comes down to it's a patient game. Who's going to be patient enough and who's going to make the pad move enough. Apparently the Lowell wasn't going to be patient, so, which is fine. I like to give me a little bit of free XP. So as you saw right there, I got all that, most of that damage from spotting from him. Just with this coated optics, I can't preach enough how much that makes a difference in building your XP. having that ability to spot tanks like that. You know, I just caught him as he was going there, and I got 400 or 500 spotting out of it, which, like I said, equals more XP for me. So good times, good times. Kind of at this point, I'm going to get a little tired of playing this position because I have really no more shots, and it's going to be one of those times where I'm going to have to play this tank a little bit more like a medium, which is great about this tank is that it has the ability to do that. It has the ability to play as kind of a heavy medium. You know, like I said, the mobility wise, it's good. So, and especially with the view range, like I said, the view range similar to the Pershing, so it gives you the ability to get out and take advantage of that. You know, get out here, and I'm going to become the spotter. I'm going to become the what the FV4202 should be doing here right now, which is getting over here and doing a little bit of spotting. Oho just shot me. You know, I took 700 of the tracks. Now, so here comes some of the wonky shit right here. This is always kills me, right? So that Oho just fired. He fired again. You know, with my view range, somehow he's still unlit. He's still unlit, and I don't know. I don't get it. He's got some fucking ninja camo or some shit. But you know, I pulled up here, view range, picked up the Strev, picked up some more spotting on the deal. There's the fucking Oho. Now, tell me how at 144 meters he stayed unlit with a bazooka. I mean, literally with that massive howitzer, he somehow stayed unlit. But he did. I don't know. I still can't figure it out. Wargaming, right? So my job is at this point is just to try to keep as much of this shit lit as I can without taking a whole bunch of damage. I know if I start popping over too much, I'm going to get shot. I know the Strev's there. I know the Oho's still sitting here. And of course the 34 is sitting here. And I'm not terribly sure where, you know, most of the tanks have been somewhat spotted now. But I generally have a pretty good idea of what I'm dealing with. So I know the Oho, I know the Strev's over here. You know, so it's just a matter of 431, still unspotted. Unbelievable. But, yeah, like I said, watch the game. 1,400 damage, 1,500 block, 1,300 assist. That's just, you know, that's it. This is the regular, shouldn't say regular game. And now the Strev's on my ass. But like I said, this was what makes this tank kind of a little bit of special. I mean, you can do this in a 32. So, I mean, if you're looking at that sense, it's not exactly terrible. I mean, it's still it's impressive, but you know, you can still do it in a 32. 32 is actually probably got a better view range and obviously a better turret. I wouldn't be getting fucked quite as hard as I am here. And I'm almost positive I probably picked out with that monster almost 500 view range on the T32. So one tank left, 2 tanks left. I'm sorry. I wish I would have had a 6th sense in here. I would have kind of had an idea of possibly where that bad chat was spotting me from, that light tank. And once I finally do find his ass, surprisingly he actually stayed up there most of the game, and he happened to live and not get spotted. Is beyond me. Once again, really good view range, but unable to spot him. Critical hit, of course, that's my typical luck, you know, because hitting a bad chat with tinfoil armor, you know, you can't pen it. All you do is crit hit. So 1,500 damage, almost 2,000 block, 1,500 spotting. Nice game. You know, I think this was a 75 game or something like that. So, all right, and